Hello, everybody. So, we all know the goddess Gaia, also known as Mother Earth. So, we worked with the descendants of Gaia, Mother Earth, on the mountain modimolle. I was born into a family that practices witchcraft. I'm from Limpopo in South Africa, and I was born in a family that practices witchcraft, and we worked, or rather who we worshipped in was the descendants of Gaia, also known as Mother Earth. So this is a goddess also known as Mother Earth. So the descendants that are on that mountain that we worshipped, or rather worked with, in the modimolle mountain, their mother is Mother Earth, or they come from her. So I was born into a family of witches, warlocks, sorcerers. That's where my bloodline is coming from. So this is from my mother's side of the family. So when I'm from Limpopo. I'm from Limpopo in a town called Modimolle. And there's a mountain also in Limpopo called Modimolle, whereby there's a lot of other stories that many of you guys would have heard of, that when you go into that mountain, you don't return, blah, 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 and all those stories. But I have been into that mountain and I'm still alive. So, my father passed away. My father passed away when I was very young. I think I was about 4 months old. I heard that my father passed away in a car accident. Apparently, my father passed away in a car accident. So are my other 2 siblings. So, and that's the story that my mother told me. But my family practices sorcery, witchcraft, and everything. So when I was about 5 years old, I would start, noticing, things that I bet off and that are not normal, whereby in the middle of the night, I'd see some of the old women and young women and even men from the village coming in and out of our home when I was about 5 years old. But the odd thing is that it will be in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. And when I turned, I don't recall whether it was 8 or 9, that's when I started practicing witchcraft myself. But then in terms of herbs and everything, I will always assist. I stayed with my grandmother, and then later when my father passed away, my mother came back home with my grandma. So we both stayed with my grandmother. So what would happen is that they would both be up in the middle of the night, and there would be these people coming into our yard, and there'd also be strange beings in our home, and I'll always be told to go back to sleep. And I also remember seeing my grandmother flying in a broom. Also, I remember seeing a particular man and particular woman in the village. I'd also see my grandmother using them to ride on them, my grandmother and my mother. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I don't recall properly. I was 8 turning 9. I don't recall properly. That's when they started introducing me to witchcraft. And I remember the first time when I was introduced to this in the middle of the night, my mother waking me up, and then when she woke me up in the middle of the night, she told me to undress, and I undressed, and then she started cutting me, and then also cut me even at the back. I have all of those scars to prove, and then putting some muti, and then in the cuts, and then after putting muti in the cuts, muti or herbs in the cuts, and then thereafter telling me to take a bath in some in water that had also herbs that were burning. This is in the middle of the night. And then thereafter, they were also all naked, and they also did the exact same thing. My grandmother and my mom and other relatives and other people from the village, all of us, we did the same thing, and then all of us, we left. This was at about it was late at night, I think, maybe at about, because every time when we did all of this, it was at about 2ish going to 3. We would do this all the time, and then we would leave the house naked shortly after that. And then thereafter, some of the men will start there in the village, then they will start running naked, and then what they would do is that they will either throw stones, sand into people's, like, on top of, because what we have is that we had this roof that is made out of zinc metal. So on top of them. So then what happened is they would throw, just to terrorize people so that the people don't go to sleep. But then we will then go into people's yards, and we will, in the middle of the night, we will start planting muti in their yards. And we are naked at this time. We'll go into different houses at night, and we'll plant muti in those houses. Some of the muti, then I later discovered as I grew up that it was pretty much to destroy homes, and some of the things that we'll plant, eventually they would turn into the things of demons, and they will terrorize the people in their homes. That was what we would be doing at night. And sometimes then we would wake up. When they wake me up, then sometimes eventually it will just be my spirit waking up. And when it's my spirit waking up, then we will go into the mountains. And then when we get to the mountains, most of the time when I got there, I will also meet some beings that are there, and I'll also meet people of my bloodline, because remember, the covenant or that my family had with these beings is that when they die, they will come there and live with them, so that when the families of when we as the families are looking for them, we know that they are up there in the mountain. So we will leave the body would be sleeping, and then we will then go up in the mountain, and then they will teach us how to use different herbs. They will pretty much they will teach us different herbs. Then they will also send us on missions, which families to kill, which families to terrorize. So pretty much that was our work. My grandmother, particularly in the community, was known for witchcraft, and we were or are still feared in the community. But then now, this is where my problem is. Now I've grown up, I'm old, I am 26 years old. This is what I need help with. I'm 26 years old now. Yes, I've been doing all of these things. There's a lot of things. I know that the story that I'm giving you, it's not a full, complete story, but hopefully you will get an opportunity whereby I'll give you the full story and go into full detail. But right now, I need help. So I'm 26 years old now. And with me being 26 years old, the expectation is that now I have to kill my husband. I'm married. I have 3 kids. So the expectation is that I have to, for the powers, for me to get more powers, I have to kill my husband. And also, at the same time, I know that immediately after killing my husband, what will follow will be my 2 kids. Just like my mother, I have 3 kids. So I know that immediately after that, I'll be expected to kill 2 of my kids, because one child has to stay alive so that they continue with the work of the family, whatever the family is covenanted to. So I've killed my husband's part of the family, almost everyone in their family. I've killed all of them, because remember, when you get married to a family, you become part of that family. So which means my husband's family, it was very easy for me to kill them, because they're not, it was easy because they like muti themselves, they like practicing these type of things themselves. So they're also very bitter people, so it was very easy for me to kill them. My husband had 5 siblings, and they are all passed. He's the only one left, and only his mother was alive. And when I married him, and I also killed his mother. But then now I don't want to. Now the problem is that I know that when I kill my husband, I will also be forced to kill my kids. And I love my kids, and I also love my husband. And if I don't kill them, I know eventually that they are going to kill themselves. I volunteered almost every family member in my husband's family, and they've all been killed. But then now they want to take my husband, and once they take my husband, I know my kids are going to follow. So this is what the covenant that was made in the past, and I don't want to uphold the covenant. I know I've done a lot of bad things. I know I've done a lot of bad things, and I'm also aware of the killings that I've done, people's lives that I've ruined, whereby some of them are crazy people in our community, some of them are people that they don't have kids, they've miscarried, but they're telling me, I've seen my dad in the mountain. My dad is there in the mountain, and my siblings. So they're telling me that even if I kill them, they will be there in the mountains. They will be staying with those beings in the mountains. Mother has kids or descendants, which we worship. They are telling me that my husband and the kids will be there with them. But the problem is that I've seen how my father is being tortured there in that mountain. I've seen how my siblings are being tortured there in that mountain. They're being sent out to cause accidents. They're being sent out to go and terrorize families. So I don't want the same thing for my husband. I don't want the same thing for my kids. So I don't want them to be in that mountain. living with those beings. So I need you guys to assist me. So guys, this is a story that I received from one of our sisters who needs prayers, who needs deliverance, who believes that these entities are far more powerful than God. But we know that this is not true. Obviously, she's asked me to post the story as anonymous, and also you guys are also more than welcome to send me your stories, and I will post them as anonymous. I've also asked I've been praying with my sister, and I've also asked my pastor to contact our sister and pray with our sister. I trust my pastor enough not to she disclose, because some of the people don't want they don't want to be the center of attention, and later on they don't want to be terrorized by the community or anything of that sort. So if you are in a similar situation and you want to share your story, and you also do not want to be terrorized by the community, you don't want to be terrorized by people, but what you need is prayers. I have seen the previous story that we've shared. Yes, the sister still needs prayers, whereby she was dating a celebrity, not a celebrity, a businessman, and then she slept with some entity. She's still alive. She thought she's gonna die. It all goes back to faith and prayer. So even with the sister of ours, I know the story is incomplete, and I'm hoping that she'll have the courage to share a full story, but then right now she needs prayers. And at the same time, she's our pastor has already started, my pastor has already started praying with her. Guys, to hear more of the stories, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and just follow on my bio. You'll also find a link to my blog. You also have to follow the blog, where I post different articles on Tuesdays and Fridays, and we also share on YouTube between Tuesday and YouTube. Yes, we share on Tuesdays and we share on Thursdays as well. Have a blessed day. Jesus loves you, and goodbye.